Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Duel Masters for the PlayStation 2 on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, we take on Rusty's finale as he has to go up against Caitlyn. And we actually opened with fucking Bad Axe nor Skylar.
The Bad Axe.
Well, yeah. Okay, I did act, as Past Gerdat mentions here, I did want to show off, like, all of the characters' specialty boss creatures. The thing is, Bad Axe or Skylar has one really, really bad problem with it, and that it's so fucking expensive! It is one of the only creatures in the entire game that has the ability to attack untapped creatures, and with 5,000 power, it can actually destroy a majority of creatures that it can attack. Both of these are really good. The problem is that it costs fucking 6 mana to get out. Caitlyn almost beats us here because look at how much her board is already set up, and she only has to spend one. And she only had to spend one shield in order to get there. I will say that if it had not been for this drop of Curatops, we would have lost this game.
It is the Achilles heel of a lot of spells, creatures, board enchantments, if you will, that it's one thing that it's really powerful. You want to use powerful effects. You want to have powerful creatures. The problem is, if you can't get it out not only in just one game, but consistently across numerous games, then you're better off without it. And that's why Vampiric Dragon will never be playable.
Well, Vampiric Dragon's big problem is that it's a normal summon monster that requires not only a tribute, but it also has relatively poor stats. And what is the on summon effect for Vampiric Dragon again?
I think it's like no, it's not a recruiter. It is he does something kind of cool.
So I guess he's a searcher then.
I was actually thinking of the Vampiric Dragon for Magic the Gathering. It's 8-drop, 5/5 with flying that has pay 2 including a red. Deal 1 damage to any target. Again,
yeah.
Amazing creature. 5/5 with flying is good. Ping anything for 2 is good, but it costs 8 to bring out, so it's unplayable.
Which honestly ends up being a big problem with a lot of the cooler creatures in Duel Masters, to be frank, especially in Red, because the big like Bad Axe or Skylar costs 6, so I'm never gonna actually be able to bring them out except for this game. But the other thing is that this creature can't attack players. So what the fuck am I supposed to do with it? He can't win the game. I'm just gonna end up throwing him at Caitlyn's smaller units over and over again.
Yeah, basically implying that you've been being overrun by creatures the whole time, and
if you've been overrun by creatures, you've already lost the game.
Exactly. You want to make creatures your priority until the enemy runs out of blockers.
Thankfully, we did actually get to show off the summoning animation for Bullshock Dragon, and I think we're going to try and show off what Bullshock Dragon looks like when he attacks shields as well. There's Bad Axe nor Skylar's attack animation on grounded targets. He drives up to them with his unicycle axe, and he smacks them with it.
Unicycle! I'm going to kill you with my gigantic unicycle. Fiery axe.
Magma Gazer. I'm okay with sacrificing my Phantom Fish in order to stay alive, though.
So is this game rated E for everyone or T for teen?
I think this game is rated E for everyone specifically because the only suggested stuff that we have is Widow's Design, to be perfectly honest, and the not fully played out romance that we've got for Luke and Rebecca. But even then, like, the card art is all far more monstrous than it is humanoid. So here's Bullshock Dragon.
I could totally see 12-year-olds in middle school talking about this game. It's like, yeah, and then I played the badass nor Skylar. What did you just say, Jimmy? You're not to use that foul language in my classroom.
But it's its name. See, Bad Axe nor Skylar. He rides a unicycle.
Because when I was a kid growing up, because they had the Justice Friends on Dexter's Laboratory, but then Major Glory used the word Asgardian but because I said it in a certain way, my mother thought that I said ass, and she got really angry at me.
All right, next up we have Luke against Serah. And Luke has to fight Serah during his campaign, so this is more or less a rematch.
And then I killed him with my ballsack dragon.
Bull shock, okay? It's not as obvious.
That's why I wanted to know if this game was T-rated or not.
I'm relatively certain that because of the skating around that it does, it is still rated E10. Thing is, I wouldn't know or care what it was rated, because it's still more or less an advertisement for the physical card game that died off almost immediately.
Yeah, isn't it funny that once you reach a certain age that the ESRB ratings just cease to be relevant?
Well, that's on purpose, you know.
Yeah, you spend most of your life not caring if it's an E-rated game or an M-rated game, because by the time gamers are as old as we are, we can appreciate anything across the spectrum.
Yeah, unless of course they're the Galgun series, which we're supposed to not respect at all. I watched Clement's retrospective on the latest 3 Galgun titles that came out for the Switch, and I gotta say, they honestly look like decent rail shooters, but I'm never going to be able to play those.
The Whisking Whirlwind.
Whisking Whirlwind is a fucking amazing spell card. No one has ever casted it. Look, I actually think that Whisking Whirlwind has a place in a fully developed meta. I really do. Oh, look, Serah actually cast it. She wasted a single mana on it. She also wasted another 2 mana to cast Solar Ray to tap a creature that she can't interact with.
La. Oh, look, it's a creature that has a non-000 number in its attack value.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the last part, Law and Ethel are very powerful because they actually skate past that particular design space.
Most powerful creature in my deck, 9,000 power.
Most powerful creature in my deck is 9,500 power. So there.
I was gonna say 9,001. Which
no.
Fuck.
They don't break down into individual digits, because individual digits are hard to keep track of.
Not in this game though, because I mean the creatures don't have health bars and the players don't have life points.
But then how do you mitigate the buff advantages in the event that we ever got any? I don't know what happened to Duel Masters after the first couple of sets. I understand that the second and third sets actually made it into the GBA titles, but after that, I have no idea what the current quote-unquote game actually looks like, aside from the fact that it got name changed to Kaijudo. Have Photoside kill Earth. This is one of the only times we'll get to see Earth as a creature on the field. So enjoy this death animation for it.
He was shattered.
Wow, we'll take down your shield, and then I think we kill you with either. Well, we have to kill you with either Iri or Loke. So we go for Loke. Okay. I didn't actually get to show Ilium, sadly. And Ilium is, in my opinion, the actual best boss monster of the 5 that we get to see, because you can use it as a signature creature and it's a blocker. So if you're actually in a point where having a low amount of shields matters, Ilium can actually pull your ass out of the fire. It's very nice of him.
Here's a dude with attitude.
And it's another monster that actually has an attack value of 6,500, so it can actually stand up to both Dianork and a good portion of the other big, a good amount of the other big creatures. Now we have to do Trey's final fight against Earl. Trey does do a fight against Earl during his campaign, but only the one, and it's more or less a formality.
Don't you love it that the characters named Earl are always these big, beefy guys that look like they were fucking right guard in football?
Well, that's because Earl is, very stereotypically an old-fashioned Southern country boy in his mannerisms. Thing is, despite the characterization that he's got, he doesn't really do anything of the stereotype aside from have the voice. Like, that's all he's got going for him, just the voice. No, we don't even know what Earl's favorite food is. But he is running copies of Mana Crisis. I wish that Mana Crisis was a more valuable card, but unless you're running the shield trigger tech, there really is no reason to run Mana Crisis.
Oh yeah, well, you don't want a crisis with your mana unless you're causing a crisis for your opponent's mana.
Well, that's what it does. It sends one of your opponent's mana to the graveyard.
Sounds very evil. I like it.
It's not as evil as it sounds, especially against green. Against mono green, Mana Crisis doesn't really do anything. It just burns 4 of your own mana. Kill the bark whip. Yay!
It's a whip made out of bark.
Well, its hide is made out of bark, so. Oh, yeah, its whip is not. Its whip is more or less a standard rose whip. If you can, wrap your mind around Ivy from Soul Calibur 2.
Yes, quite very rosy.
Or Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Big, fluffy, scantily clad.
Kurama was never scantily clad, okay? I think he was almost fully naked in one scene, but never scantily clad.
Well, that would be scantily clad is
how can he be clad if he is almost naked?
Clad means wearing clothing. Scantily generally refers to mostly nude.
Well, actually, scantily is supposed to refer to the amount of sex appeal that clothing articles accentuates.
Scanty. The mighty
shit,
shouter.
He brought Xenomantis.
He had a voice that was strong and loud.
I think we're just gonna cast Mystic Encryption here, right? Or are we gonna try and race him?
Conscription.
We can't actually win a race with him is the thing right now, so.
It's raining, it's pouring.
Alright, so we added Mystic Inscription to our mana in order to cast Melee and Loke. Now we should be able to win a race with him. The big problem that green actually has is that it only has 2 really viable shield trigger cards in Mana Nexus and Mana Crisis, both of which interact with mana. Mana Nexus allows you to repurpose one of your mana into a shield, and Mana Crisis allows you to delete one of your opponent's mana. Yeah, as Past Gerdat is mentioning here, don't sleep on Unblockable. A lot of the creatures that have Unblockable are relatively expensive, but it is a really amazing keyword. Especially because a lot of the creatures that have Unblockable are also relatively big. Like, the only creature I can think of that has Unblockable that isn't really big is Candy Drop. But that's not entirely true because Earl also has got Mass Pomegranate in his deck, so. But yeah, we're going to take down Earl this time. Yay.
Yay.
Magris, take down his last shield. And then Melee to finish him off, right? Yep, Melee finishes him off.
So just look at his face. Like, you wonder, what is he thinking? I'm thinking pork rinds.
Yeah. I mean, that's what his character design is saying. His actual character, not so much. But.
Oh, he felt like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Mind you, sacks of potatoes have less dueling skill than he does, so. And in the next part, we will finally finish the 5 colors tournament. We got one last bracket to close out, and then the actual final boss.
Yay.
Be safe, everybody. Let's go, Rebecca. Kick the piss out of Jalen.